Afternoon, Cougar fans, and welcome to Concordia Field for today's non-conference matchup versus the Vikings of Augustana College and the Cougars of Concordia University, Chicago. I'm Parker Kelly, joining you live from the Cougar Sports Network. I'm here up in the booth with my partner, Rafael Gonzalez. Raf, this is the last non-conference game of the season for the Cougars before they start NAC regular season play. Little history lesson between these two teams. The Cougars are 0-4 all-time against the Vikings, looking to pick up their first win against this team, first win of the season. What do they have to do to get it done here today?
Well, in their last two games they had, they played away to both CUC College and Ripon College. In both of those games, they had a lot of good opportunities in those two games to score, but they did not convert yet in any of those two games. So today is a huge game for them to start getting some more momentum, getting some more confidence, particularly in the final third when it comes to shooting, because so far they have not yet scored a goal yet so far throughout their first three games.
Cougars definitely needing to get it done on the offensive end today. Defense has been a little bit better since last year. However, the Cougars have yet to find that offensive rhythm, also yet to score a goal here in the regular season. Meanwhile, Augustana on the other side, coming in with a 2-1 record. The start of the season, they were projected to finish third in the CCIW. Now they're tied for first. So tough challenge coming up for the Cougars as we're getting ready to get underway with the national anthem. And a few words from President Russell Don. We'll be back on the Cougar Sports Network.
I'm Dr. Russell Don, President of Concordia University Chicago. Thank you for tuning in to today's Cougar Athletics broadcast. We take great pride in the strength of both our athletic and academic programs, which are rooted in our steadfast commitment to Jesus Christ. Dedicated to the liberal arts as a foundation of a high-quality college degree, we believe education should form individuals for service to their neighbors. This makes Concordia Chicago an exciting and fulfilling place to study, work, learn, and grow. Learn more today by visiting cuchicago.edu. Thank you, and go Cougars!
And we're back on the Cougar Sports Network. Just got done with the starting lineups. If you miss it, we'll give you a quick rundown. No worries. First, for the visiting Vikings of Augustana College, in goal, number 0, Kirsten Rogers. Number 6, Paige Bingen. Number 7, Allison Jabot. Number 9, Liesel Whitener. Number 11, Samir Akubda. Number 13, Jordan Swanson. Number 18, Georgia Felicita. Number 19, Abby DiGustino. Number 28, Lexi Dominguez. Number 36, Ashley Diedrich. And number 44, Carson Kieklik. The Vikings are coached in his 23rd season by Scott Miha. And for the Cougars, in goal, number 0, Alani Burnell. Number 2, Hannah Bowers. Number 3, Allie Brown. Number 7, Jamie Siebert. Number 9, Pamela Saldivar. Number 12, Valeria Fernandez. Number 13, Lucia Falone. Number 17, Melika Kenworthy. Number 20, Quetzali Artiega Vasquez. Number 21, Juliana Paulsen. And number 33, Lorena Jaimes. The Cougars in his second season are coached by Eddie Garza. As both teams get set for opening kickoff, doing the honors, number 21, Juliana Paulsen. Cougars have a lot of veterans on this team as they look to pick up their first win of the season. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the Vikings looking to steal one on the road here in River Forest. Should be an exciting one as the on-field officials talk things over, getting ready to start. And we're underway in River Forest as Paulsen kicks it back to her teammate. Cougars working on the far side of the pitch, looking to make an impact on offense early, but the ball travels out of bounds, and now possession will go with Augustana. We get a throw in right there. Cougars trying to make an impact on the defensive end as well as they take the ball right back, working in the midfield. Trying to get the ball passed around on the far side of the pitch. And Roth, if you're the Cougars here early, what is your main focus?
You want to establish a good game plan here early on, control possession, and sort of get a feel for what this Augustana team is going to do, particularly formation-wise and defensively. And for Augustana, you know, their key here is to start early here, get a couple of attacks going. This is a Cougars team. You know, last time they were at home here, they struggled against that when they had to face against Wisconsin Platteville only last week, you know. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams, you know, start off here in these next 10 minutes.
Cougars have had their struggles here early on in the season as Augustana has an excellent opportunity to convert, but Lonnie Burnell will come out and prevent anything from the Vikings. Cougars now working on the near side. Number 33, Lorena Jaimes. Once again, Burnell will come out of the goal and pick up the ball. Analyzing the situation, Cougars getting back in formation. She'll roll the ball to Melika Kenworthy. Working towards that Augustana bench. The ball goes out of bounds. Possession will go right back to the Vikings.
Another key thing that Coach Garza also has mentioned so much about this team, they need to put two halves together. I mean, they need to play a complete full game, and not just have a few little bursts of momentum, throughout the game. They need to play a full 90 minutes, 100% from first whistle to the final whistle today.
And we've seen this Cougar team, when they get down early, it's been hard for them to play a complete game. Eddie Garza looking to change that here in his second season in River Forest. Augustana working on the offensive end. Change of possession. And Lorena Jaimes knocks the defender over while she's at it. And the Vikings go right back on offense.
Questionable decision there by the referee. Didn't see much of it, only just a little bit of a push off, but a free kick here for Augustana.
Sure looked like a pretty aggressive approach right there from Jaimes. And the free kick will be by Viking defender Allison Jabot. Jabot sends that one into a cluster of players from both sides. Now Jabot working with it in the middle. That shot to the left of the goal, and Burnell come out of goal. Now a free kick right here from Siebert. She'll send it over to her teammate Kenworthy. A little back and forth action here in the early going of the half.
Both teams continuing to try to establish one another, get a feel for, what both sides are trying to accomplish here.
Cougars trying to figure out the Vikings defensively. Had a couple of looks so far, haven't been able to convert on anything as Paulsen racing down the sideline. But Samira Okubda beats her to the punch. Now we'll get a throw in right here from Jaimes. She goes over to the corner of the field, near the corner. And the throw in goes off of the chest of Lucia Falone, out of bounds. Now Augustana looks to make an impact on the offensive end.
Those are secret opportunities that the Cougars cannot, just give up and give away, considering how, if you look at their last two games, against Ripon College and Coe College, they had a lot of shots in both of those games, and a lot of them on target. And yet in both games, they failed to capitalize and put a ball in the back of the net.
Cougars' looks on offense have been few and far between here in the early going of the season. Got to capitalize for sure. As Siebert, working in between a couple of Vikings, loses the ball. Vikings trying to flip sides of the field and get a clear out. However, the Cougars take it right back. Finds her teammate racing down the far sideline. Intercepted by Augustana. Right back to the Cougars. Back and forth affair here early. Siebert. That shot rolls and is protected by Kirsten Rogers for her first save of the day.
First shot of the day goes to Siebert right there for the Cougars, and that's what they need. They need to get a few shots, get some momentum going, and get rolling here. And so far, in these only first little past 5 minutes of this game, they've done a lot better job than last time we saw them here.
So a quick look at the numbers so far for the Cougars this year have gotten 15 shots off in the first half, but they have allowed 33 shots to the opponents. That number definitely has to go down, and if you want to keep up with a team such as Augustana, going to have to get more shots up for sure, as Augustana 19 shots by period in first halves this year.
Not only that for the Cougars, when they've had opportunities to shoot the ball, they've been efficient at it. You know, out of their 35 shots, 22 of them have been on target. The big, obviously, unfortunate is that they just haven't been able to find that one person who can really, you know, control the game and, you know, lead the team on their backs, you know, particularly in the final third. They're still looking for that one person.
One player that has been solid for the Cougars offensively, number 7, Jamie Siebert, as she ranks 9th in the NAC in shots on goal. She has 6, which averages about 2 per game. She already has 1 shot on goal here early. We get a throw in right there from the Vikings. Brown not able to corral. Now Siebert racing to the sideline, not able to get to the ball. As her teammate Jaimes comes over, get a throw in. Paulson, the closest Cougar in the area. Ball trickles onto the track. And now Jaimes. Falone, and that pass kicked out of bounds by number 13, Jordan Swanson, freshman defender out of Lexica, Kansas. Excuse me, Lenexa, Kansas. Throw in right there from Jaimes. Ball out of bounds, and Augustana will go back to work.
This is an Augustana team that, you know, they played 3 games we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, but so far, you know, in both of their wins, they were very dominating against Princeton College and then against Coe College, but in their anomaly in their loss was against Illinois Tech, in which the ITT dominated for the majority of the game. So it's interesting to see here today which Augustana team are we going to get. We're going to get the team that lost for 1 away at ITT, or the team that just this past during this week beat Coe College at home 3-0.
That last loss against Illinois Tech came on September 3rd, which is Sunday. Yeah, lost 4-1. However, this team just played versus Coe College on Wednesday, beat Coe 3-0, and Coe was a team Cougars lost to earlier on in the season. They lost 1-0 on September 3rd. As we mentioned earlier, Augustana sitting at first in the CCIW with that 2-1 record. They're projected to finish tied for 3rd in the preseason, tied with Wheaton College. So this is a pretty solid Viking squad. They also have stability at their head coaching position. Scott Miha in his 23rd season at Roth. I know that was a point you brought up to me earlier in the broadcast as well.
It says a lot about just the stability that the program has right now with the Vikings.
Lots of stability for sure, and they've been a good program. Looks like we will get a corner kick. Not a corner kick. Now Falone. That goes off the head of Paulson and over the goal. Cougars had another chance right there, just a little too high. And we're still tied at 0.
A nice, lovely cross there by number 13, Lucia Falone right there, and Paulson right there. Did a really good job. Amy head perfectly to the ball, and unfortunately just too much power on her header right there, and that right there squanders another great opportunity for the Cougars. But so far, they have done a really good job attacking this Vikings defense.
This is kind of a rarity we haven't seen from the Cougars in their first 3 games. They're getting a lot of looks on the offensive end, just haven't been able to convert yet. If you're wanting to beat a team such as Augustana, you're going to have to convert.
That's another chance right there. And for Paulson, unfortunately, just couldn't get a perfect touch off the dribble right there, and it falls right into the hands of the netminder, Kirsten Rogers.
as that is the second save for Rogers here in the game. Another opportunity right here from the Cougars as Paulsen tracks it down before the ball rolls out of bounds. Roth, we've seen Paulsen down in scoring position a few times here early on.
We have right there, and that last instance right there, she was trying to dribble from her left foot onto her right foot. Unfortunately, just a touch too heavy right there, and it's going to result there in a goal kick. But so far, Paulsen's done a really good job in the final third for the Cougars.
Paulsen, a senior on this Cougars team. They're really senior heavy. Seen players like Allie Brown, Hannah Bowers, their teammates, bunch of seniors on this team. They're experienced. They're just trying to find their rhythm here early on. Couple of good looks for the Cougars today against a strong opponent. As Hymas takes a tumble, looks like she might have gotten tripped up by number 10, Ximena Osorio Rodriguez. Excuse me, no, that was number 18, Georgia Felicita. As the ball go out of bounds, Vikings take back over on offense. And a free kick right here from the Vikings. And number 11, Samira Kubda. And once again, Georgia Felicita hits the turf. She's back up. Good sign for the Vikings. She'll do the honors of a free kick. Felicita sends that one. Cougars come up and Hymas clears that one out. However, the Vikings take back over. Roth, what'd you see right there on offense from the Vikings?
They try to do what is like, a nice little cross from the free kick right there. Unfortunately, the players were too far away from the free kick taker right there. And, Felicia, and unfortunately, because of that, resulted in the Cougars trying to take over possession. But since then, it is a throw-in for the Vikings and a substitution as well for Augustana.
We'll get a substitution right here from Augustana. Get that to you here in a second after a stoppage of play. Augustana trying to get something going. Intercepted by Hymas. Hymas playing pretty solid defense for the Cougars.
And not just Hymas, but overall this entire back line of this Cougars team doing a much better job than what they did in their first game of the year against Wisconsin-Platteville. So shows just how much in a short period of time they have really improved in all facets of the game.
That was the opening day game for the Cougars as they took on non-conference foe Wisconsin-Platteville. Dropped that match 3-0. Defense kind of struggled more in the second half, but this is a defense that has started the game a lot better, looks solid. And if you're Coach Eddie Garza, you just want to see your team compete at this intensity, these energy levels throughout the remainder of the game. We're now under the 30-minute mark here in River Forest. A little bit of a cooler day, perfect soccer conditions. The sun is out, not a cloud in sight here on this September afternoon. Hymas kicks that one straight up in the air. Brown, the closest Cougar, she takes it running down the middle of the field. Siebert trying to track it down. She was in a tight race with number 13, Jordan Swanson.
We also saw right there the talent that Allie Brown possesses right there in the midfield, the senior, how she's one of the most critical pieces on this entire team, and expect for her to be often mentioned at this broadcast, coming back both as a ball-back winning midfielder and more of an attacking midfielder as well.
Not only that, but she's been voted as a captain in the past. So her teammates really look to her for leadership. One of the more vocal leaders, leads by example. One of the major foundational pieces of this veteran Cougar team.
And these are moments where seniors have to step up at the most, considering how this team has started off the year winless. This is now the time where you want your captains to sort of, become a leader and ride the ship with the team.
This is absolutely that time. If you're able to get a win here today against Augustana, it would be a statement win for the Cougars. Last season, Cougars came off a 3-8-5 record, 2-4-3 record at home. Looking to turn things around. As the goalie of Augustana comes out. Mentioned her name quite a bit. Number 0, Kirsten Rogers. She'll boot that one deep. Nice header right there from the Cougars.
Also, to make note about Kirsten Rogers, number 0, the goalkeeper for Augustana, it is her first start of the year, as before that, the Vikings were goalkeeper was number 1, Janae Casteau, who had played all 3 games this season. But today, it's a huge opportunity for Rogers to sort of try to take away Casteau's spot as the number 1 goalkeeper.
Rogers, the senior, has been with this program for a while. Knows she's excited to make her first start. Can be a bit intimidating as well. Your first start is on the road. But she looks pretty solid in net early. Cougars working on the far side, trying to make something happen. Once again, Rogers comes out to make the save. And Ross, she's not showing many signs of any nerves here early.
And every time she touches the ball and makes, really good plays like that right there, it's going to build her confidence and the trust that her team is going to have for her. And so far, she's done a really good job for this Vikings team.
Last shot was off the foot of Valeria Fernandez. The Vikings boot that one. Trying to track it down. Bowers and go out of bounds, but possession will remain with the Cougars.
But I love what I've seen from the Cougars so far is that, when we first saw them, last week, they were too defensive-minded, in my opinion, in which they didn't have many attackers up front whenever they had any opportunity to sort of counterattack. Today, what they're doing, they're playing a lot across both sides of the pitch, particularly in the wings, on both touch lines. And that's forcing this Augustana defense to play really wide and separate from one another and defensively. And it's giving, opportunities endlessly for Juliana Paulson. And eventually, at some point, she's going to cover one of those opportunities.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's Juliana Paulson's motto today. And Rafi made an excellent point, really stretching that Augustana defense out wide. The Cougars are able to find holes within the defense, something that they didn't necessarily do early. They're starting to figure it out now, which is a good sign. That one's booted and just misses the goal as it goes off and right. That shot from Swanson.
Those are the type of shots as a goalkeeper you hate facing, not knowing whether or not the ball is going to go over the net or whether or not it's going to just hit the upper 90 corner right there, and a lucky break right there for the Cougars.
Lonnie Burnell was nervous on that one, but happy about the result. It's Jaimes. Seems like she's taking a little bit of a beating here early. Playing really aggressive defense. Taking a couple tumbles. Now, Whitener. Haven't mentioned her name a whole lot today, but she's definitely a player to look out for. First in the CCIW in shots on goal with 9. Number 2 in goals scored with 4. number 2 in game-winning goals with 2, and number 2 in points with 8.
She is definitely the best player on this Augustana team. But as you mentioned so far, that says a lot about this Cougars team and how well they have done really tracking her down.
Opportunity right there for the Viking. It's squandered by Alani Burnell as she makes another nice save. Roth, in her first year in net for the Cougars, she's looked lights out.
Well, sophomore has played tremendous so far this year, and right there, that's a great opportunity right there for the Vikings right there, for number 36, Ashley Dietrich right there, right in front of the net, and just a really good job by Alani Burnell right there, being in position.
As whistles blow, possession will go right back to the Vikings. And a free kick right here. It looks like we have a Cougar player down as Jaimes. A little gimpy getting up. Kind of jog off under her own power. Means we'll be getting a substitution here. Now the free kick for Augustana will be conducted by Carson Kalikic. And the substitution coming in for Jaimes, number 30, Yulisa Aviles. Now an opportunity right here for the Vikings. That shot to the left, no good. Another excellent defensive stand right here from the Cougars.
And that shot right there was from number 9, Whitner right there, and just an unfortunate break for her. Hit the side of her foot, unfortunately, and she whipped on that one. But we're starting to see this Vikings team starting to really get a lot of opportunities right here. And this is the moment now for the Cougars where they have to sort of, take a step back and reorganize themselves and go back to what was working earlier on and try to maybe change a thing or two to stop this Vikings team from getting these great opportunities in the final third inside the 18-yard box.
Cougars have looked good on the defensive end. Offensive end have some looks, just haven't been able to capitalize. Maybe switching things up would be a good idea. As the Vikings just sent that one deep, and Cougars trying to play some more defense right here. So send that one to Siebert. Trying to find Paulsen. Paulsen, she'll take a tumble as Rogers comes out of the net and basically tackles her. We're seeing a pretty aggressive game here early by both sides. Both teams desperately want the win today.
The game is starting to open up for both teams, meaning both teams are going really on the attack. And what's that going to create? It's going to create a lot of opportunities for both teams because of how high up both teams are playing on the pitch, both for their attacking lines and defensive lines. And so far, a really competitive game overall from both teams, almost evenly matched.
And now the Vikings working with it. And now Bowers regains control. Tries to find Alvarez. But the ball rolls out of bounds. I believe that hit off of Avali's shins. We'll get the throw in right here from her. She finds Falone, who backs down to Augustana defender. Possession go right back to the Vikings. Now Swanson for the throw in. Saldivar finds Siebert. Whistles blow. Possession will go right back to the Vikings. We believe we will get a free kick right here. It's number 11, Samira Kubda. Now Saldivar. Closest Cougar in the area was Paulsen. Siebert came a little bit later. It's a busy day here on campus here at Concordia University Chicago. Right after this game, we will have the men's soccer team as they take on Olivet Nazarene University. So both non-conference matchups. Football team at the road at Oberlin College. I believe that game is getting ready to enter the fourth quarter. Women's tennis team is taking on Marian University here at home as well. Fall sports are in full swing. We'll get another throw in right here from Swanson. Kenworthy tries to get the ball back for the Cougars. Backs down the defender. Now back on defense. Ball kicked out of bounds. Believe that was Alvarez once again. Ross, she's come in the game and made an immediate impact on the defensive end.
She has, and speaking about, impact, substitutions are coming on right now in the previous stoppage right there for the Cougars. Pamela Salvador went off, coming in with Megan McQuaid, and then Mary Loza also came in for number 21, Juliana Paulsen. So it'll be interesting to see those players, trying to make an impact here with a little over 15 minutes left in the first half.
It's been a pretty fast pace first half, I would say, as Cougars trying to get a clear out. However, Swanson kicks it towards the track. So Cougars go back on offense. Megan Wilkinson McQuaid, just talked about her, Raw, back on defense. And now the Vikings with an opportunity, one-on-one and a goal. Alani Burnell came out of net, went towards the right, and it just rolls to the left side of the net, and the Vikings will get on the board first here in the 16:04 mark in the first half.
And it all started off of a beautiful through ball right there by Jordan Swanson, number 13. And right there, beautiful pass to give it up right there to Lisa Widner right there. We talked about her earlier, how she's the best player for this Vikings team. And right there, calm and composed right there on the spot. And it gives the Vikings the 1-0 lead here, left here.
And who else other than Whitener, the leading goal scorer of this Vikings team. This is now her 5th goal of the season, her first of the game. Puts the Vikings on the board first. Cougars have found themselves in a bit of a hole. Haven't gotten much going on offense since earlier in the half. Been primarily on the defensive end. Now Whitener, potentially another opportunity. And that one was dangerous. Goes off the hands of Burnell. That one looked like it had a chance.
Weiner right there, moving on her right foot right there, trying to shoot it in the bottom left-hand side of the net. Good save there by Burnell, but all of a sudden now, this game is still in full control right now for the Vikings, just dominating right now at the moment.
Definitely scary moment right there for the Cougars. Can't really afford to find yourself down 2-0, especially if 2 goals came in the matter of within a minute. Luckily, the Cougars get the save. Now Burnell kind of directing a little bit of traffic here. Will send that one deep. Finds Brown, who's able to corral it. On-field official blows the whistle. Point in the direction of Augustana going back on offense.
Right now, the Cougars are feeling a sense of deja vu at the moment. The last game against Ripon College, they had a lot of shots in the first half. They had 10 in that game in the opening half, but they conceded 2 goals in the first half, which ultimately was the difference in that game. And now here we go again. Today, they dominated early on in this game. Augustana, as the game progressed, got more comfortable with what they were doing tactic-wise. And since then, they have started to really gain control of this game.
Now Burnell. She'll pick up that one, roll it to her teammate on the far side. I believe that is Saldivar. Now working with it. Ball rolls towards the Concordia bench. Augustana will get the throw in right here. Nice header right there from Saldivar.
Throw in right here.
Throw in right here from the Vikings. And now Kenworthy. That pass intercepted by Jabot. Avalise. Whistles blow once again. Signaling for Concordia to go back on offense, and Kenworthy will do the honors of the free kick.
What I'm starting to notice as well right now is that Augustana is starting to really control this game, particularly in the midfield right now. And that's been the key difference right now, is they've been able to, establish possession and control on the attack.
Now Bowers. That kick goes out of bounds. I believe the pass was intended for Madeline Loza. Senior out of Cicero, Illinois. Yet another senior on this Cougars team. Throw in right here from Swanson. Standing next to the on-field official. Throw in intended for Osorio Rodriguez. Now Kenworthy clears. Swanson will boot that one out of bounds. Now looks like we'll get the throw in from Julissa Diaz. Loza backing her down, has the ball taken away. Now Whitener. Good clear out right there from the Vikings. And racing is Osorio Rodriguez with Kenworthy playing defense. Nice play right there from the Cougars back line. Whitener takes a tumble. I believe that was Kenworthy who tripped her up in midair. Whitener, with the graceful fall, gets right back up off the pitch.
Whitener was trying to dribble right in between right there, almost like a sandwich in between both Cougar defenders right there. And it's going to be a free kick and a very prime opposition for her right here to get herself on the board again.
There's a yellow card on Melika Kenworthy for unsporting. First yellow card we've seen today. Now Whitener decides to dump it off to her teammate over there in the corner, Swanson. Possession will remain with the Vikings. We're now under 10 minutes in the first half. Throw in from Swanson. Kicked out of bounds by Siebert. We'll get a couple substitutions. Getting one from the Vikings and two from the Cougars. as Siebert looks like she'll exit the game, as well as Lucia Falone. So Falone and Siebert heading to the bench. Get you those substitutions here in a sec as action resumes here in River Forest. Throw in from Whitener. Augustana trying to work with it. Another opportunity to maybe grow this lead 2-0. Whitener trying to make something happen, and a goal! Liesl Whitener, goal number 2 of the game, and number 6 on the season, right past Alani Burnell in net. And, Roth, that was a strike off the foot of Whitener.
We've seen Whitener score off her right foot in the first goal. Now we've seen her on her left right there, and that just comes from a bit of carelessness right there from the Cougars on the set-piece tactic right there from the corner, allowing Whitener right there in the middle right there with free space, and a really good shot from what is a very tight angle shooting near post.
And now the Vikings with a 2-0 lead. Cougars defense really needs to step up right here. It seems the Vikings have found their groove. And, Roth, we've seen in previous games this season, even in last season, when the Cougars find themselves in a hole, it's been hard for them to climb out.
And I mentioned this at the beginning of the broadcast. What did Coach Garza said this week in his Coach Weekly? They had to play 2 halves perfectly. And today, they only played for about the first 25 minutes perfectly. And since then, these last 15 minutes have gone horrendously bad. Every sense of imagination for this Cougars team. And now we have a little over 7 minutes left here in this first half. What can they do right now from a tactic perspective and a philosophical, change will be much needed here for this Cougars team. Not only that, they need to sort of, bounce back and sort of bring the morale up right here.
That substitution for Siebert, Madeline Georgopoulos, and coming in for Lucia Falone is Jacqueline Casas. And on the other side for the Vikings, coming in for Paige Bingen is Kaylin Cole. First time we've called her name today. Now Whitener has that ball taken away. Julissa Diaz. Vikings working with it in the midfield. And, Roth, you mentioned that they've been dominating here in the first half in the midfield play.
That was sort of the big difference in this opening part of the game, is that they couldn't establish control of the midfield. And since then, they have done a really good job dominating across the middle of the pitch.
Cougars have been on defense quite a bit here in the latter part of the first half. Saw a couple opportunities for the Cougars to potentially score early. But since that point, it's been a primarily defensive game for the Cougars.
That's the last thing for the Cougars that you want to do right now, having to play, defensively right now. And it's just not what they want to do ideally.
Seen a couple of fresh faces, fresh legs for the Cougars, and made a few substitutions here in the first half. Working with it on the far side. Cougars have it intercepted by the Vikings. Now Cougars will retain possession. Vikings trying to get the ball back in their hands. Done a good job of that here in the first half as Whitener, man, has she been big today. 2 goals. Sends that one deep. Nice clear out right there from the Cougars. Now it's back to Whitener. Goes off the right foot of Bowers, and Diaz just watches as it goes out of bounds, and get a throw in right here from Swanson. Now Bowers. She's working against number 8, Jade Spate. And opportunity right here from Whitener as it just goes over the right corner of the net. You could just hear the fans gasp every time she has an opportunity to score. She's been dangerous here early.
And once again, she was left wide open right around the 18-yard box. And you have to ask yourself, you're the Cougars, why are you not marking her, checking her down, her every movement, maybe two defenders, sort of double team her. Because at this point, she has single-handedly been the main reason why this Augustana team has been so good in this final third here.
And that ball drifts onto the track over on the right corner of the field. We're now under 5 minutes, out at the 4-minute mark. Here is time dwindling here in the first half. Melika Kenworthy will conduct the free kick.
Also, a key note right here. Number 9, Whitener is going to go right now to the bench. He'll take a quick break right here to close out this half.
And to the game comes Maddie Feltner. And we'll get a substitution for Jade Spate as well as Kendall Filanowicz come into the game for her. And now a save right there from Rogers coming out of net. And it looks like get a whistle blown. Swanson will kick it on over to her teammate, and it looks like we will get a free kick from Kubda. Couple opportunities for her as far as free kicks are concerned. Now Swanson trying to work with it on the near side. It's intercepted by Loza. Now the Vikings will retake control. That ball was chased down by Spate. Now at the 2-minute mark here in the first half, Vikings with a 2-0 lead over the Cougars as they look to potentially grow their lead right here. That header to the right of the net. Cougars catch a break as they try to get some offense going before halftime.
It's critical here for the next 90 seconds that the Cougars do not concede a third goal right here if they want any chance of coming back here for the second half.
And now get a whistle blown and time still running as Augustana going to get a free kick from the midfield. Now we're under 1 minute to go. That ball rolls over to the Augustana bench. Another throw-in opportunity for the Vikings. We'll just watch as that one drifts out of bounds. Now the Cougars trying to go back on offense to make something happen here in the final 30 seconds before half. And a throw in. Working with it on the far side. Both teams racing. 10 seconds remaining. Augustana, potential chance right here. It may be out of reach. And no shot is going to get off as we'll head to halftime. The Vikings with a pretty solid lead over the Cougars, 2-0. as we'll head to halftime. You're listening to the Cougar Sports Network.
Concordia University Chicago is a Christ-centered Lutheran university where truth, freedom, and vocation form students for lives of influence and service for the common good. Our university offers a wide variety of undergraduate and graduate degree options that are available in person and online. That means we have a program designed for you. Whether you're a high school student, an adult returning to complete your degree, or someone looking to enhance your credentials and prepare for career growth. As a member of this university community, you'll also find support in your spiritual and personal life so you can grow in the faith and discover ways to serve others. To start your next journey with us, visit cuchicago.edu today.
Hey, I'm Monica here at Concordia University Chicago, and we're here outside of Concordia Hall. Concordia Hall is the university's newest residence hall, right on the edge of campus, perfect for students who want to explore the nearby downtown of Oak Park and River Forest. The flexible suite-style living in fully furnished bedrooms lets students choose what works best for them. Every floor is complete with a community lounge and full common kitchen, with a kitchenette, microwave, sink, and refrigerator. The first floor offers the Victory Lounge, connecting to 2 additional residence halls, with no shortage of ways to relax. You're also right next to an open, outdoor plaza, better known as Victory Lane. So now we're here in Concordia Hall's suite-style dorm room, and this is a really nice place to just hang out and chill. And since it's so big, there's plenty of room to spread out and do your homework and just relax. So now making our way into one of the bedrooms, there's plenty of space in this room for you and your roommate. A lot of times students will move the desks so that they've got their separate study space, but my roommate and I, we get along really well, so we can just work together here in the same space. Sometimes I like doing art as well, as you can see by the painting here. It's a 16 by 10 feet space, and most rooms on campus are 10 by 12 feet. So it's really nice to have a little extra space to work with here in Concordia Hall. So this hall is super close to the chapel and the Kennedy Community Center, which has the new Crossroads Dining Hall. So the location is super convenient. And I really love the city scene too. The location here is the closest on campus to the Oak Park River Forest downtown area, which has a ton of great stores and restaurants. Speaking of the city scene, I adore the view from this lounge because you can see the Chicago skyline right there. Concordia Hall at Concordia University Chicago.
CUC nursing student and choose to stand tall for healing at a university that places Christ at the center and embraces teaching students to live a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning. Concordia University Chicago's new Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree is an innovative and rigorous 4-year program that will prepare you to rise to the daily challenges of a rewarding nursing career and serve a greater cause. Our newly built modern simulation center features 4 distinct spaces: a skills attainment lab, multi-specialty intensive care spaces, a health assessment learning center, and a simulated home environment. Due to our close proximity to many world-class teaching hospitals, CUC's clinical rotations offer an abundance of diverse and real-world experiences. Learn more about earning your BSN at a Christ-centered university today.
Interested in finding out more about Concordia Chicago? Head to cuchicago.edu for more information on our university.
We appreciate you tuning in to today's game and hope to see you at CUC very soon.
Fans, head over to cucougars.com for everything CUC athletics. Just enter women's soccer. Click on the sports tab to find rosters, schedules, stats, and more. Again, the website is cucougars.com. At the half, Cougars trail the Vikings 2-0. We're about a minute and a half away from the start of second half action. Roth, we're talking a little bit at the break. What really stood out to you from the first half?
What stood out to me in the first half was just how well, for Augustana number 9, the sub winner, how well she has just dominated this game single-handedly. I mean, look up to this point, she has 2 goals to her name out of 5 shots. And what concerned me more, especially in that second goal that I mentioned during the broadcast in the opening half, was that there's no Cougar player right now who is really tracking her down across the middle of the pitch. They're letting him roam free right there in the final third. And at some point, you have to sort of realize that and make the change. It's interesting to see in the second half, if Eddie Garza, anyone on the players, make that adjustment, maybe see one of the midfielders, maybe like Iron come down a little bit more and sort of, almost like a man-to-man situation in football, just marker all over across the pitch. But other than that, what we saw from the Cougars team early in this first half was really good. Those first about 20, 25 minutes, they were really impressive, using the entire width of the pitch. But since then, this Vikings team has just single-handedly just dominated this Cougars team.
First 25 minutes were good. We see those 2 goals from Liesl Whitener. The first one came at the 28:57 mark, assisted by Jordan Swanson. Second goal, unassisted, came at the 36:35 mark for Whitener's second goal of the first half, her 6th of the season. And Roth, you hit the nail on the head. Nobody has accounted for her on the defensive end. And this Cougars defense played good first 20, 25 minutes. But as the half started to progress, nobody accounted for Whitener. She'll be the main focus on the defensive end for the Cougars. What do the Cougars have to do on offense in this half to get things going?
It's interesting, because in the first half, what we saw, they were doing really good. It was the best soccer we've seen them play this entire season. And almost in an instant, things completely changed. And what made that change happen was that they lost their possession in the midfield. In order to win games for them, they have to control the midfield. And so far, that's what the Vikings did really well in the end of the first half. And so for the Cougars, you're looking to find different ways how you can sort of regain sort of that possession in the midfield.
You mentioned it in the first half as well, just the domination in the midfield for the Vikings. And this is a Vikings team that the Cougars cannot take lightly. Coming into today 2-1, sitting at number 1 in the CCIW. And on the other hand, the Cougars have yet to find a win here in the early going of this 2023 season, sitting at dead last in the Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference. Eddie Garza looking to pick up his first win today. Cougars in a bit of a hole as they look to claw themselves out of it. Both teams still on their sidelines. The Vikings sitting in the corner towards the upper right side of the field. The Cougars are bunched up together on their bench as the Cougars make their way out onto the field. And Roth, another point that I wanted to hit. Augustana has 10 shots in total in the first half. 5 of those shots have been shots on goal. In the other hand, it seems like a similar storyline. Cougars 3 shots, only 2 shots on goals. That number's got to go up as well.
It has to go up, and this is once again another game where we see the Cougars continue to struggle finding ways to score. We saw Juliana Paulson in the opening half, find really good opportunities and couldn't convert on them. And we're looking at it now. This is the 7th game in a row. If they don't score here in the next 45 minutes, it's going to be the 8th game in a row this Cougars team has not scored. And at some point, it just becomes almost like a psychological thing, for this team. And they really need to improve drastically here in the second half.
As the Cougars break the huddle, we see Augustana starting to make their way back onto the field as well. Starting lineups for this half, pretty similar to what we saw in the first half. As we get a little bit of conversation from the midfield officials, Cougars are lined up on defense. That back line ready to go. Center field having a little bit of conversation. You can see that conversation being led by Allie Brown right now. We talked about her leadership, what she means to this Cougars team. As Augustana huddled over on the 30-yard line. They break the huddle, looking to get set. Since the Cougars had the opening kickoff, Augustana will have the opening kickoff here to start the second half. And it'll be number 10, Zamina Osorio Rodriguez. As we get underway here in River Forest, whistles haven't blown quite yet to commence the start of the second half. Both sides looking things over, and There's the whistle, and we're underway. Start of the second half. Allie Brown comes out of nowhere to intercept the pass, really showing off the speed. But the Vikings take right back over on offense. Kenworthy kicks it up. And Cougars defense draped all over Augustana. Now Siebert racing to the middle of the field. Siebert has done a pretty solid job on the offensive end, one of the better offensive players on this Cougars team. Has the ball taken away from her as soon as I say that by the Vikings. Vikings once again kind of controlling that midfield. And now Wilkinson McQuaid dumps it off to Lucia Falone. Falone looking for an outlet, finds Paulson a little too far. Now we'll get the ball in the hands of Kirsten Rogers.
What we saw from what happened right there for the Cougars was what they needed to do, and it all started off a few moments ago when Allie Brown did a really good job intercepting the pass. The Cougars, that's the first time in a long time we've seen them really move the ball through the midfield, and if Paulson right there was onside, that would have been a great opportunity for her one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
And now Hannah Bowers is just going to kick it to her goalie. Doesn't look like Alani Burnell is in net to start the second half. I believe it is Brooke Sheriff, sophomore out of Simi Valley, California, will handle goalie duties in the beginning of the second half. We'll see if Burnell will make an appearance later on in the game, but right now it's the Brooke Sheriff show.
Sheriff so far this season played one game for only a half so far this year. Only faced one shot and made that save, so it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what's going to happen here in the second half.
And now Kenworthy to do the free kick. She tries to find Wilkinson McQuaid, and now this is a spot you don't want to be in. Augustana with a chance, but defense proves to be strong for the Cougars. A little takeaway right there. Allie Brown trying to get the ball right back. Augustana back on offense. Both teams playing aggressive defense. It's a scrap for the ball. Now Siebert tries to use her speed to get past the defenders. Paulson bumped out of the way. Brown trying to track it down. She finds herself on defense. Game really taking place in the midfield, at least right now. Brown trying to find Bowers to flex off of Viking. Dumps it off to Falone, who slices inside, trying to make something happen. Defenders everywhere. Does a nice job of dribbling in and out. Now Siebert. Now, Roth, what were the Cougars trying to do on offense right there?
They're finally looking to open up a little bit more now in midfield. They started to play out wide again, which is what they did successfully in the first half. So we're seeing them sort of go back to what worked for them in the opening half. And so far, while it hasn't yet created a shot for them yet, they're really making progress towards getting that objective.
Trying something new, different looks on offense as Falone takes a tumble, as well as Augustana goalie Kirsten Rogers.
So far, it's been a good day for Rogers here, first start of the season so far, with 2 saves to her name.
Been pretty solid in goal. And on the other hand, Lonnie Burnell came out of the game at halftime. She had 3 saves. And now Brooke Sheriff She got the start in the second half. See what she can do in goal for the Cougars. Kenworthy. Takes that one off the head from Falone. Number 12, Valeria Fernandez, gets right back up off the pitch. Brown fighting, trying to get the ball back for her team. Finds Siebert, who cuts in between two Vikings. Now Paulsen, she's been aggressive on the offensive attack. Whistles blow. Possession will go right back to the Vikings. Good defensive possession right there from Augustana.
Weathering the storm here, this early second half attack by the Cougars. So far, the Vikings have been able to withstand it so far.
Cougars weathering the storm here in the second half. Trying to make some noise on offense. Trying to find new looks. As the ball go out of bounds, get a throw in right here. Backing her down was Azorio Rodriguez. Augustana really controlling the possession right here. Brooke Sheriff come out of goal. Try to clear things out for the Cougars.
Good job there by Sheriff. And, you know, it's a tough position for her right now, you know, because usually when we see goalkeepers come into the game of substitution, usually when they're up, you know, by a couple goals late in the game, you know, for them to get experience. For her, she's put here in a tough situation, you know, with the team being down 2-0. So, interesting to see how she's going to, like, respond to that. So far, done really well.
Has done just fine in goal here in the early going of the second half. I'll tell you what, I've been really impressed with Paulsen's aggressive approach on the offensive end. She's been a force for the Cougars, hasn't been able to convert on the opportunities. However, I like where her head's at right now.
She's been consistently the biggest player for this team today, especially a really good work rate she's done so far. Doing a nice little job of everything on the pitch.
As Wilkinson McQuaid kicks it over, it looks like in the direction of Siebert. Siebert, as fast as she is, not able to get to it. All go out of bounds. However, possession will remain with the Cougars. The throw in right there to Brown. Brown dumps it off to Siebert, who sends it looking for, I believe it was number 12, Valeria Fernandez. Fernandez has to give that one up, and now I believe it'll be Melika Kenworthy who will conduct the corner kick. Kenworthy, the sophomore, does all of the free kicks for the Cougars.
Currently almost 7-8 Cougars in the box right here. This is a prime opportunity for them to get back right into this game here off this corner.
Now Kenworthy kicks out one, goes behind the goal. Squandered opportunity right there from CUC.
Those are opportunities that have come far and few for the Cougars right there. And we talked about it in the first half, you know, when they were doing really good in the final third, they needed eventually to score. And that right there is another prime example of just sort of the struggles they've had so far this year in goal scoring.
Bowers will find her teammate Grace Glodowski. Excuse me, I'm sorry, that was Siebert. Now Rogers comes out of goal to make the save. She's having a pretty solid performance for the Vikings. Now Azorio Rodriguez. She was working against Lorena Jaimes, who went out, looked like with a little bit of an injury in the first half. She's back on the field, a good sign for the Cougars as she was one of the starters in the first half. Ball go out of bounds. Cougars will go back to work on offense. As a throw in from Jaimes. And now Paulsen tried to make something happen. Augustana is going to get the ball right back. We're now well into the second half. Roth, it seems like it's been a very defensive game. It's been the storyline here in the second half.
It seems like Augustana is trying to sort of, protect their lead a little bit right here, but what it's been allowing is for this Cougars team to start building up some attacks. And, it's interesting to see Augustana if they're going to immediately change their philosophy and how they've been playing so far in the second half and go back to what worked for them in the first half, which is starting to really push the ball up forward and looking to make really nice through balls into the Cougars defense.
As Wilkinson McQuaid rolls onto the turf, gets up immediately. Seeing a couple falls from both players on either side. Now Kenworthy once again to do the free kick. Brown, the closest Cougar in the vicinity. Ball goes right back to the Vikings. Vikings working with it. That shot over the goal. Brooke Sheriff catches a break right there.
Another shot right there from number 9. Who else for this Augustana team? Honestly, Widner right there. Looking herself on a hat trick. Unfortunately, just shot a little bit high above the net right there.
She's been the main shot taker for the Vikings. Liesl Whitener, 2 goals already. Tried to go for the hat trick. Definitely one of the better offensive players for this Augustana team. One of the better players in the conference as well. She ranks top 2 in a lot of different categories offensively. And now Valeria Fernandez. She'll send that one. Now Vikings working with it in the midfield, an area they controlled very well in the first half. Falone will find Brown right behind her. Brown trying to do some work. She'll find Wilkinson McQuaid, who finds Siebert on the far side, loses that one. Will roll towards the Concordia bench.
So far, what they've done here in the second half has been really, really good job, considering how, at the end of the first half, they were playing a little bit almost like flag, a little bit lackadaisical. And so far, this Cougars team feel a lot more energized. You get a sense in the vibe, they're sort of regrouped and refocused here.
They made a couple substitutions in the first half, but this looks like a newer team. Kind of that second half burst. Falone trying to make something happen. She does. But a clear out from the Vikings, making things difficult offensively for the Cougars. Haven't been able to get much of anything in Viking territory. Now Bowers. She tried to find Siebert. Now Paulsen tracking it down. Cougars have a couple quick players on this team. Really kind of a speedier team. Don't have as much size, but what they do have is speed.
You mentioned the speed, hence why they've been playing so far away from one another out on the wings on the touchline right there, trying to use their speed, and sort of, cut across back to the middle of the pitch. And they've tried that a few times. It's worked a few times, but it still has yet haunt them to score that elusive first goal.
They're trying to switch up their looks on offense. They've been few and far between. Now Augustana looks like her foot touched the out-of-bounds line. Cougars recognize that right away. Valeria Fernandez will conduct the throw in. She finds Falone, who's working with it. That shot, no good as it rolls right in the hands of Kirsten Rogers.
Shot right there by Falone. The main issue with that shot right there, just lack a little bit of power right there. And a low bouncing shot right there was difficult to handle for Rogers.
As soon as it left her foot, didn't really look like it had a chance as whistles blow from the midfield official. Possession will go to the Cougars. Excuse me, no. It'll stay with the Vikings. Kenworthy will boot that one out of bounds. It bounces into the stands. Throw in from D'Agostino. Falone dribbling in and out. Finds Brown, who's right next to her. Brown not able to get the pass off. There are a few Vikings in the area. Now Bowers clears that one over to Seibert. Wilkinson McQuaid now dribbling in the midfield. Vikings take over on offense. Working with it in the midfield. This is number 44, Carson Kikilik. Now Fernandez. Dangerous position right here for the Cougars as she's tripped up. I believe that was number 30, Ulisa Alvarez.
And Parker, that all started right there because of the pass right there by Hernandez right there. And just overall, just a really bad challenge right there inside the box. And because of that, see the result here, an opportunity for Augustana to extend their lead right here up to 3.
And who else than Liza Whitener? This will be a real test for Brooke Sheriff. Whitener having a phenomenal day, looking to tack on an extra goal. Nice save from Sheriff, but Whitener hits off the top of the crossbar and back down. What an exciting sequence of events for the Cougars. Now the Cougars with a little bit of momentum. Let's see what they can do offensively.
The highlight of the day comes right there from the 5'2" sophomore out of California. In a tough situation for her, but a great save right there. And for winner right there, she had the follow-up opportunity to hit the post. But overall, first time we've seen these Cougars, feel their energy. And it's going to be interesting to see, can they capitalize off of the momentum and energy here in the remainder of the second half?
I'll tell you what, that was a nice save from Brooke Sheriff. Then Whitener with another opportunity just hits off of the top of the goal, which in soccer does not count as a shot on goal. But an exciting defensive effort right there from the Cougars. Let's see how it translates to the offensive end. Stoppage of play on the field, however, clock still running. Throw in right there from the Cougars. Siebert working with it. Now Paulsen will kick it right back. Kenworthy working with it in the midfield. Pass intercepted by the Vikings. Falone attempts a slide tackle. Vikings are still off and running. Defense right there from Fernandez as she knocks over number 19, Abby D'Agostino.
Well done there by Fernandez right there. To D'Agostino right there, pushing her all the way to the touchline and forcing her to have little to no room right there to send a cross into the box. And because of that, it will result in a goal kick. So good effort by number 12 in all white.
As we'll get the free kick once again from Kenworthy. Been a part of her normal duties this season. Whistle's blown. Possession will remain with the Cougars. Now Kenworthy analyzes the field, raises her right hand. The kick goes off of the chest of Brown. Brown will fall to the turf. Cougars back on defense. Now a cluster of players near the 30-yard line scrapping for the ball. Wilkinson McQuaid will take a tumble. And that Cougar bench on their feet, clapping, yelling. Cougars do have a little bit of momentum. Now, whether they are able to capitalize or not is the question. Siebert has two defenders on her. Really aggressive play from both sides in the second half.
Looks like we have another substitution here for the Cougars.
Looks like Seibert will come out of the game.
Coming in is number 23, Elisa Diaz.
Called her names a couple times today as she made her appearance in the first half. Now coming back in the second. See what the Cougars can do right here as the Vikings trying to get a clear out. Diaz will just get rid of that one. Solid defensive play from her. Diaz, the junior out of Chicago, Illinois. Went to John F. Kennedy High School. Whistles blow. As has been a common theme here in the second half. Very physical play from both teams. And we'll get a substitution right here from Augustana as Alexis Wasserberg comes in for Liesl Whitener here in the 68th minute.
With Whitener being off the pitch right now for these Cougars, it's a great opportunity right here to see whether or not maybe they can garner a few more opportunities compared to when Whitener was on the pitch. Because she's been single-handedly the main reason why this Vikings team has been so successful on the attack. But outside of her, we haven't heard anyone really from Augustana really able to create opportunities on their own.
Cougars defense kind of catches a break as Whitener's kind of been doing it all on offense for the Vikings. Give the Cougars defense a little bit of a break. Maybe a little bit of time to focus on the offense as well as the Cougars can get the ball back right here. Player down. She'll get right back up. And it looks like potential free kick right here for Augustana. Number 10, Azorio Rodriguez. She backs up and gets ready for the kick. Both teams getting set. Now under 20 minutes to play here in River Forest. That kick goes off of the hands of Brooke Sheriff. Goes on top of the net. We get the oohs and ahs from the stands.
Kind of a scary moment right there. If you're Brooke Sheriff right there, she put her hands out to stop the ball and almost went in the net. Unfortunately, it went, above the net right there. A very close situation right there. It almost came to catastrophe.
A lucky break for Sheriff. Sophomore listed as 5'2" on the roster. Just kind of had to jump and pray that the ball didn't go in the net. Sheriff comes up with the save, directs a little bit of traffic, telling the Cougars to go deep.
I think what caused that issue right there with Sheriff is the fact that she's 5'2" compared to, Alani Burnell. She's 5'5" right there.
That's an extra 3 inches on her, but ball will go to the Cougars. Free kick from Kenworthy. Quick shot update. Augustana 15 shots, 7 shots on goal. So only 2 shots for them here in the second half. That kind of speaks to the Cougars' defensive effort. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the Cougars have yet to get into double digits on shots. Only 5 shots. 3 of them have been on goal, which is a good target percentage, but you just want to get that number up. And now more whistles. Throw in right here from the Cougars. Looks like we'll get a substitution for Augustana as well. That throw in off the chest of Cougar. Ball will go out of bounds onto the track near the away baseball dugout, which is right next to the soccer/football field. And the throw in. Possession will retain with the Cougars. Also a substitution for CUC as Pamela Saldivar coming in for Lucia Falone. More whistles.
A free kick right here.
And a free kick awarded to the Cougars. Number 10, Medilyn Loza. As the Cougars try to capitalize on a gift right here from the Vikings.
Augustana's going to have 4 players right there, put up a wall right there, and hope to block the shot right here. Number 10, Medilyn Loza.
Shot. Hits off of the crossbar. That one looked like it had a chance. If it was only a couple inches lower, Cougars would have been on the board.
It's a great effort right there by Loza, just a few inches above the ball right there. So that's twice in a few minutes we've seen both teams have a free kick and nearly convert on it.
Cougars just not able to capitalize on the gift right there from the Vikings. That shot from Loza just a little too high. Now the Vikings and Rogers going to get the kick, and she absolutely boots it. Now the Cougars working with it towards their own bench. Loza trying to play some solid defense in the midfield. Bounces off of Diaz. And now the Vikings have a chance right here. Solid defense from the back line of the Cougars as we are now under 15 minutes to go here in second half. Fernandez sends it deep on the far sideline, picked up by the Vikings, and rolls towards the Augustana bench. We'll get the throw in from CUC. Pretty solid defense from both sides in the second half. Both teams have had opportunities to score here in the last half of regulation, just haven't been able to convert. And for CUC, chances have been few and far between.
But I do believe, though, those chances are starting to happen more and more now due to the fact that we mentioned earlier, Excel Whitner is currently on the bench right now for Augustana. So if you're head coach Scott Mejia, for Augustana, when do you put her back in? Because sooner rather than later, there's going to be a time and a place right now for this Cougars team. They might score right here, and just like that, when you've been dominating all day, you're only up by 1 if they convert and make a goal here very soon.
That's a good point. Only 3 shots in the first half for the Cougars. Now have 4 shots here just in the second half alone, which is more than the first half, and they haven't even played a full half of action. So the Cougars definitely get more opportunities. As Sheriff, with the ball in her right arm, motions her teammates deep. Got a little bit of a leg on her. She sends that one up. And now Brown trying to make something happen. Clears it. Loza not able to get to it, but that one's just going to be booted out of bounds by Jordan Swanson. Nice job defensively by Swanson, preventing anything from happening on the offensive end, as we see Juliana Paulson coming back into the game for Julia Diaz. Julissa Diaz.
Paulson got a much-needed break right there. Now back on the field, refreshed, re-energized right here for these last remaining 12.5 minutes of the game.
Cougars need a little bit of a spark. Sheriff with a couple nice saves. She already has 3 saves in the game, which is as much as her other goalie, Alani Burnell. Now Bowers finds Lucia Falone, who's back into the game. Falone coming in for Addison Alexander. Jamie Siebert back into the game. She comes in for Valeria Fernandez, and Alex Locke for Augustana coming in for Zamina Azorio Rodriguez. Right here, a free kick awarded to Augustana and Jordan Swanson. This is a foul on Quetzali Artiega Vasquez. The Vikings working with it in a good position, and a clear out right there from Melika Kenworthy. Nice defensive play by her.
You see also a couple of Cougar players right there on the bench warming up, so expect them to see more substitutions come out for the Cougars here, potentially in these next 10 minutes for the game ends.
So free kick from Kenworthy. Tries to find Brown. Brown not able to get to it as she was behind Carson Kikilik. And the Vikings will go back to work on offense. And a free kick is going to be awarded to the Vikings. Tries to find Swanson. Bounces off of Siebert, and that ball goes onto the track. As we're now under 10 minutes to play here in the final half. Cougars trail the Vikings 2-0. Cougars have been much better on the defensive end. Haven't conceded a goal in the second half. Part of that has been because Augustana's best player, Liesl Whitener, hasn't been playing as much. Now, Falone. Cougars, bunch of green grass ahead of them. But Augustana takes back over. That ball rolled out of bounds. Seems that Falone had a lot of green grass right there with a couple options, just weren't able to convert.
Yeah, and that's just, the further on we go on this game, the less chances this Cougars team is going to have, and expect, Augustana, to, start to time waste, try to, just have a nice little passes, back and forth between a couple of players. Just waste time here, and, the goal of obviously trying to hang on to this win.
Couple substitutions for the Cougars. We'll see Megan Wilkinson McQuaid come back in, and for the first time today, number 18, Marlene Batista, freshman out of Chicago, Illinois. First time we've called her name today. She'll come into the game as well. Couple sets of fresh legs for the Cougars. See if that can aid on the offensive attack. But right now, the Cougars on defense. Possession is with Augustana. Looks like we'll get another substitution, one from both sides. Juliana Paulsen will come out. Saw her come in not too long ago. And into the game is Nadaline Medina. Now Addison Alexander watches as that one goes out of bounds.
Well done there by Alexander, using her body sort of to shield the ball right there, and the end result will be a goal kick right here. And with 7 minutes, a little more remaining, it's time for these Cougars to start pushing it up and expect more players to sort of go up across the pitch and make a couple of attacks.
And into the game for Augustana, Alyssa Mowry coming in for Alexis Wasserberg. Brooke Sheriff with the free kick. Tries to find Glodowski. Nice header right there. And that one's sent deep. Cougars trying to work with it. Getting a little physical is Luciana Moran Cruz, who also came into the game. So lots of new faces for this Cougars team. Throw in will be from Glodowski. Another throw in, tries to find Wilkinson McQuaid. Cougars trying to get really anything they can on offense. Really stingy defense, though, from the Vikings. Now Moran Cruz loses it. The Vikings take back over. Great defensive stand from Augustana. That ball will trickle out of bounds, and possession will remain with the Vikings of Augustana College. Nice clear out right there from the Cougars. Trying to back her down is Moran Cruz. She's able to corral the ball. As it's kicked out of bounds. Now under 5 minutes to play in the half.
Substitution again. Saldivar goes off. We'll get a word here to see who came in for her.
Now it's just back and forth soccer here in the final minutes of regulation. Good defense right there from Medina. And now Batista. And a Cougar down and a little slow to get up.
Foul right
I
there.
believe that was Ariana Rodriguez. She appears to be fine.
Time is slowly ticking away here, 3.5 minutes, and these Cougars, you have to think they have to get a goal here within the next minute if they want to have a chance to pull off a 2-goal rally right here.
Cougars working with it, and Wilkinson McQuaid flashes her hands, not understanding why the whistle was blown. Possession will go right back to the Vikings. 3 minutes to play here in the half. Cougars trail 2-0. As a free kick will be awarded. Number 7, Allison Jabot. Sends that one deep. Ball up in the air. Both teams fighting for it. Now Augustana with a chance right here, but Sheriff quick to make the save.
Sheriff right there, cutting down the angle right there of the incoming cross right there that was towards to number 24. Alyssa Mallory right there. Good job there by the netminder.
Two minutes left in the half. Cougars trying to play tough defense. Maybe get something going on offense. Some of the younger players get a little bit of play time here in the second half. Augustana making it really tricky, though. As that ball is going to be kicked right back to goalie Kirsten Rogers. CUC had the ball in their own territory. Gladowski running with it in the middle of the field, sends it over to her teammate. Ball's taken away from the Vikings, but back to Gladowski. She sends it over to the far side of the field. 1 minute left here in regulation. Comeback looks more than likely improbable at this stage of the game. Opportunity right here for the Cougars is squandered as Jabot takes that one away. 29, Nadaline Medina.
Time is slowly taken away now for these Cougars.
Time taken, not a lot of time left. We're under 30 seconds. As Addison Alexander asks Cougar to touch the ball. And that'll do it here in River Forest. Augustana College comes on the road and steals one from the Cougars. Defeats CUC 2-0. Augustana now improves to 3-1 overall. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the Cougars drop their 4th straight, fall to 0-4 here in River Forest. Roth, as the game just came to a conclusion, what were your takeaways on how the Cougars performed?
It's a tale of two halves. In the first half, they were playing well at first, and as the game further progressed into the end of the first half, they sort of struggled a little bit. They lost sort of their mojo they had at the beginning. In the second half, they were a lot more consistent throughout the entire second half. Unfortunately, the big problem that's been sort of the main focus on this team so far this year is their inability to score. And unfortunately, today, that has bit them again once more.
Once again, Cougars drop this one to Augustana 2-0. Quick look ahead for both sides. The Vikings will return to their home field tomorrow for another non-conference matchup. They'll take on NAC opponent Lakeland University tomorrow at 2 p.m. Thorson Lucken Field. And for the Cougars, they also have a quick turnaround as well. They will be hosting Rockford University on Wednesday to commence NAC regular season play. The Cougars will only have one more non-conference game as they're scheduled to take on Lake Forest September 17th at 1 p.m. Once again, the Cougars fall 2-0 to the Vikings of Augustana College. Real quick, want to give a shout out to our student workers who are making this game possible. Our public address announcer, Chandler Kerr, working the cameras, Janie Turnez and Abby Kulig. On the table was Wyatt McLaughlin working the scoreboard, Emily Balaban, our student photographer, Saber Miller, up here producing next to me and Roth, Sydney Lloyd. We are under the direction of Sydney Palaskis-Laher and our SID, Kayla McLeod. As for me and my partner, Rafael Gonzalez, we're signing off from the Cougar Sports Network. Make sure to tune in as the men's team takes on Olivet Nazarene University right here on the Cougar Sports Network as 4 p.m. This is Parker Kelly signing off, but I want to say, as always, go Cougars!
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.